Hello, so I'm going to go over a couple of the basics of editing, just a few quick things that you should know before you jump into the fun world of medical record editing. So the first thing that is important is that you can make a backup of your template in its existing state. This is helpful if you maybe, mess things up really bad and you need to go back to the version you backed up. So, and also it's always good to have backups of your files. So under EHR at the very top here, we have Import Templates MedRec Utility. And this brings up our configuration utility window. All we're going to do is click Backup Existing Templates. And that will allow us to go ahead and make a backup. I recommend leaving the date as is. If you really want to, you can, name it what you want. Like maybe you want to do pre-editing. If you do deviate from the original name, just make sure that you add a .bak. That will keep the file format in the records template format. We'll go ahead and save that. Okay, now let's say that that is the case. You made a lot of changes, you don't like them, something happened, whatever, you want to revert back. So you'd pretty much do the same thing. You would come into the Import Templates MedRec Utility again. You have to click Backup Existing Templates. Make sure that you do not overwrite your original file, or in fact, since you're trashing this current iteration, you can just click Cancel. And now you're going to have some buttons on the right hand side. So you can restore MedRecs from backup. You can choose the file that you want to reload, and the system will go ahead and reload that for you. All right, so we're done with that for now. So we do need to go into the records module in order to edit it. Let's go ahead and just pull up one of our test patients. Test Lucy is fine. And we are going to go ahead and jump right into edit mode. So that's under EHR settings and edit medical record templates. Now you may see your system go into not responding at the very top of Crystal while it's going into edit mode, and that is totally normal. There is a lot for the system to render with all of these fields and all of the information for the fields. So if you see that happening, just give it a second, and then once it's done, you'll see exactly, well, depending on the template you have loaded, you'll see exactly what you see here with this edit records window right up. So when we enter edit mode, it's really busy. We see a lot of numbers, a lot of things going on, and every single field, every single label, every single button, they all have numbers attached to them. So what those numbers mean, at first glance, we can see in this box right here, we have a 4 and then we have a 204. Well, the first number is actually the tab order, and that is where your cursor is going to go as you are filling out the medical records. So you can tell the system your preferred path that you want it to take. That is in another training, and that is for editing the tab order. So if that is the case, you need to make some adjustments. You can go ahead and watch that. I'm not going to go over that right now. But the second number, the one in parentheses, is very important. That is called the field ID. All right, so what we have here, if we take a look at field ID number 204, we can go to the edit records window. And to jump to that number, we can just click anywhere in this, and you can type in 204. And that's going to jump to this primary box. So now we can actually see the purpose of this edit records window is that it outlines all of the elements in our medical record template, and it also tells us about the field. So we can see in the primary chief complaint that it's got a label of primary, so we can see that the label matches the field here. We can tell that it's a 2-line text box. It does have a description. This is not needed. You really only see this when you're in edit mode, so you really don't have to waste your time with it. And then we can also see the drop-down menus that are included in this field. Now there is another video that goes over editing the dropdown, so I'm not going to go over that right now, but just so you can kind of see how it outlines all of the field information. We can also see, let me find a button. There we go. So we can see the buttons and we can see all of the commands that we have set in one button. So it's really going to give you a good idea of all of the elements and what they mean. Okay. So again, when you come in here, just click anywhere in this window, type in the field you want to go to, and the system will jump in it. If you prefer to use a scroll method, you can. It just is going to help to expedite the process. Okay, so that's the edit records window here. So we've got all of the fields outlined. Now at the bottom of all of these fields, let me jump there, -1, we're going to see the negative numbers. All of these negative numbers are going to be on the ARRA tab. You don't see that when you're in edit mode because you can't actually edit that tab. It's for government reporting purposes, so it's pretty locked down. But that being said, all of these fields are on the ARRA tab. Now, if you are going to be reporting and you would like to add some of these fields into your template so that way it matches your workflow or it goes with your workflow, you definitely can. That is to add items in, delete items, move things around. As you guessed it, that is in another video, so I'm not going to go over that, but just so you have a good idea of the contents of that edit records window. Okay, so moving on, if we wanted to get the field ID for a button, that is a little bit different. So what we're going to do is we're going to click the reorder button at the very bottom here. And that is going to allow us now to see all of the field IDs of the buttons. Same thing where you can type in the field ID 3599 and the system will jump to that button. So you can either take a look and just kind of dissect it a little bit. Maybe you can add or you need to fix a button. And so that's how you do that. As you can see, it does get really busy when you're in this reorder mode, especially if we look at something like the AMP tab. It is crazy. So you've got all of these buttons that are super close together, and so all of these labels, they just kind of start to jumble up. You can't really do anything, you can't see it. So a trick is that if you go back into the regular mode, which is going to be if you click Move Item, the second time that you go into reorder mode, you can actually move around these little field labels. Okay, so you can really then start to see, okay, here's astigmatism, that's what I wanted. Now I can actually see it and go to it. You don't have to worry about moving all of these little labels back. Don't waste your time doing that. The system is gonna do that automatically for you when you get out of edit mode. Okay, so that's helpful. And we'll just go back into the regular mode, out of the madness, and there we go. It is still busy, but it's not as busy, so there we are. All right, for the edit records window, it's always going to be up when you enter edit mode. However, if you want to get it out of the way, you can do like I did by just moving it. You can also minimize it or close it. And if you do that, it goes away, but it is actually still going to be at the bottom of your screen. Let me see if I can move that into focus here. One sec. Okay, there we go. So it's just going to be docked at the bottom on the Crystal logo. So you can just go ahead and hover over that and then bring back up that window as needed, minimize it as needed, you know, whatever you need to do. All right, so let's say that you have made some changes that you're happy with and you want to go ahead and do a quick save. You can do that by going up to File, Save, or you can press F2 and then you'll be able to go ahead and just make a quick save. Now, I think that's very important. I would definitely get into the habit of saving often. And the reason is because there is no undo button, all right? So save often just to cover yourself and lock in those good changes. Now, if we wanted to actually completely save our changes and get out of edit mode, or maybe we made a mistake and we don't want to save our changes, what you can do is you can click on the records module again, to bring up the search for patient window, we can choose our test patient, and this will allow us to either save our changes or to not save them and back out. Okay, so we didn't really do anything, but we'll just go ahead and save our changes, and that is going to bring us back into the regular mode. Okay, now let's say that, let's say you made some changes. Let's see here. Let's say you added in a couple buttons, you're testing things out. You're like, okay, that looks great, but you know, I think I actually want to go back in and I want to remove this notes field. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go back into edit mode. I'm going to delete this field and let's save our changes. Okay, well, wait a minute, didn't we just delete this? Yes, we did, but there is something called versioning. And basically what that does is whenever you start a medical record, the system is going to preserve that medical record in the template that was loaded into the system at that point in time. So since when I started this medical record, this notes box was present, the system preserves it. So that's great for all of your real patients, but since we're kind of testing things out and editing and we're in our test patient, we actually do want to see all of our changes that we've done. So what you can do is you can actually delete this record in the test patient. That's just under EHR settings, record information, and delete. And then now if we go back into our test patient, we will be starting fresh. It's a new record, and we will see all of our changes. So that is pretty much it for the basics of editing. If you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you.